Hi, I'm Dalton Potter of the Potter Violin Company, and we're here today to talk about the difference in violin strings. In the old days, they made violin strings out of natural gut, wrapped in aluminum or silver. Today, we still make strings out of gut, but most of the time we make it out of what they call synthetic gut, which would be a type of a nylon polyfilament. But they're still wrapped with aluminum and silver. And the other option, of course, are steel core strings. Now, steel core strings come in several varieties. What I have today are the two most common synthetic core strings that would be dominant, and probably one of the most common good quality steel strings, helicore. The difference between the two is that once steel strings have stretched out, in other words, you put them on the violin, you tune it up to pitch, for a day or so you kind of have to keep retuning it. The steel strings will generally settle in and not go out of tune, which is very convenient for students and their parents. The drawback to steel strings that don't go out of tune is that over time they put an increasingly higher and higher amount of pressure on a very delicate wooden instrument and can cause repair problems. Helicore are less likely to do that than some other more famous brands, so we don't want to advertise necessarily for or against a particular brand of string, but those are the ones that we use in our shop here very commonly. The other strings that we use very, very frequently are dominant strings, which is a type of synthetic gut string. There are several other brands made by Tomastic. There are also brands that are made by Parastro, and those are available online from almost any violin shop that you can name. The difference is that the synthetic gut strings have a deeper, warmer, darker sound. So often what you'll find is that classical violinists like the synthetic gut strings, and fiddlers and people who play electric violin and people who play pop violin will often use the steel strings because almost always they're using electrical amplification. And if there's the tiniest bit of out of tune, the steel strings are helping to not have it not go out of tune. If there's the tiniest bit, it makes them really crazy. So they usually use steel strings instead of nylon strings. I'm Dalton Potter, and that's the skinny on steel strings versus nylon strings.